I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Four, three, two, one.
When world peace is threatened,
let the mayhem begin.
There's only one man for the mission.
Bond here.
This holiday season, the world belongs to Bond.
Lucky for you, I stopped by.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Rated PG-13. See tomorrow today.
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. This is another paid request for Joseph. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request any other type of reviews or topics or reactions or anything of that nature, feel free to either send it via PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this time, he wanted me to talk about Tomorrow Never Dies. Which is cool because I've been wanting to revisit and look at the James Bond films again. And Tomorrow Never Dies is one of the James Bond films I grew up with, because I did not grow up a lot with the James Bond character. I knew of him, but I didn't see much of them growing up. Just never... And the ones I did see growing up were the Pierce Brosnan ones, which GoldenEye is my favorite. This one I really enjoy. The other two, not so much. World's Not Enough and Die Another Day with this fucking invisible car. But Tomorrow Never Dies, I think it's a bit underrated. This one gets put under the radar, just kind of thrown away. But I think it's a very satisfying picture. It has some really solid action sequences. It's cool to have Michelle Yeoh from Super Cop in there. That's a nice plus. I do enjoy Jonathan Pryce, who is in Jumpin' Jack Flash, among others, as the villain. This guy here. And what I liked about his character is that he's this media guy that the plot of the film is he is provoking a war between China and UK in order to do certain things and then get the rights to have coverage in China for the next 100 years. And we go, oh, this is an over-the-top plot. No, believe me, in this day and age, that plot makes sadly more sense on a this could happen possibility, sad to say. And Jonathan Pryce is having fun with the role. There's even the point where he's making fun of Michelle Yeoh's martial arts. Hoo, ha, ha. Pathetic. So, I mean, Jonathan Pryce is entertaining. Pierce Brosnan, I would say he's my James Bond, because he's the one I grew up with. His are the first films I saw. This and GoldenEye are my two favorite James Bond movies. GoldenEye being number one, this being number two. And Pierce just had the charisma and charm. He's a really good actor, but he could also handle the action sequences. I've seen other stuff too. Films he did before this, like Livewire. Livewire, I think, is a criminally underrated action flick with a really cool plot where what if bad guys made this type of water, this liquid, that when people ingest it, They did a spontaneous combustion and become a living time bomb. And Pierce Brosnan has to figure out what the hell's going on. If you haven't seen Livewire, I recommend that one. But yeah, here, like I mentioned, Jonathan Pryce is this big media tycoon that is provoking this war between China and the UK by having certain devices, so one ship is off course, and then a Chinese fighter jet comes by, and the bad guy sinks one ship, and shoots down the fighter plane as well. So now tensions are rising between the two countries, and James Bond has to look into what the fuck's going on. Now this is directed by Roger Spottiswoode. He's done a couple films I've enjoyed. He did Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis. He did Shoot to Kill with Sidney Poitier and Tom Berenger. I like that one. Turner Hooch I don't mind with Tom Hanks. He did The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He did Stop or My Man Will Shoot with Stallone. He did do that, so definitely a different type of filmography. I guess this would be his most successful film that the guy's directed. And the action scenes are entertaining. I mean, it begins with this arms deal at the Russian border, and Pierce Brosnan, he's getting to the cockpit of the plane and just going around a circle shooting and blowing up the shit of everything. Oh no, missiles coming, can't stop it. He gets out in the nick of time. There's a bad guy behind him. He just under another bad guy's jet, hits the ejector button, so that bad guy flies up into the bad guy's plane. That's a very fun opening to a James Bond flick. Like I said, Jonathan Pryce, he's definitely relishing the fun of playing this villain. There's no news like bad news. Judi Dench, it's nice to see her as M. Which is strange when you get to the Daniel Craig films, because she also plays M in those. But from what I understand, the Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig films do not link up timeline-wise, I don't think. Casino Royale is like his first job. But it's M playing the same thing, so I'm like, so which is it? Is she just playing the same role, but it's a different timeline again? It's just a bit weird. But Judi Dench, she does a good job. In these, she's more of an ally for Bond, looking out for his best interests. While in the Daniel Craig, there's a bit more of a friction, butting of heads in between the two. I would say the fisticuffs leaves a little bit to be desired when there's fighting. I think because Roger Spottiswoode, he's not a director known for shooting fight sequences. So at best they're alright. But it does say something when you get Michelle Yeoh. And like I said, her few fights are alright, but a film with a much lower budget, Super Cop, those action and fight scenes are more crisp and frenetic and exhilarating. So Roger Spottiswoode, again, he's not the best when it comes to doing fight sequences. Again, at best they're okay. But more so with the big set pieces and gunfire and jets and, the third act when they get on Jonathan Pryce's ship and send up bombs. And there's even this big thing with a bunch of missiles and Pierce Brosnan's manhandling it, just shooting missiles everywhere. See, it's big fun entertainment. I mean, you have a remote control sequence where he's remote controlling the car from the back seat. He's able to go all this stuff here through this garage. Even point he jumps off and still control. Like the remote control car, it's actually a pretty cool idea. I'm actually surprised that idea has not been implemented in real life. Where, granted, now I'm trying to think when you would need it. Well, I mean, yeah, when would you need that in real life, now that I think about it? Well, businesses, I guess if they want to just remote control the car for delivery, maybe delivery of stuff. So they just be in the warm, toasty home instead of, outside in the cold. Maybe via that. But we get back to this. Pierce Brosnan still has that charm that he had in GoldenEye. Those lines of dialogue, he punches a guy into this newspaper pit where you see blood being put on the newspaper, and Pierce goes, "Print anything these days." A little bit of that Roger Moore, that James Bond sense of humor. You do get Pierce by Joe Don Baker, which is nice. He's a lot of fun as the American who is an ally for James Bond. Seems like a lot to save the world, Jimbo. And like I said, having Michelle Yeoh in there is a definite plus, because she's very talented as a martial artist. Not a bad actor as well. Terry Hatcher, she plays the wife of Jonathan Pryce, our villain, but she also has a history with James Bond. And she was most well known at this time for the TV show Lois and Clark with Dean Cain. And she does fine with her role. She's beautiful, she's sexy, she's able to give James Bond the info he needs. So she does fine. People not. It seems like a lot of people are not a fan of her acting, but I don't mind her. The thing about these James Bond films, I'm not sure how much people go into it for the story. It's more for, well, the girls, the guns, the action, the gadgets, the spectacle, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, I do think this villain, the fact that he was a media tycoon, the fact that as his other bad guys are shooting civilians that they've sank, at the same time he's writing the newspaper headline, crewman killed, delete, 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 murdered. Just him relishing this sensationalism and journalism and using the power of that. Which you do that for today, only with the internet. You say one thing, people believe it is true, and they don't question it one bit. So back here, it was the newspaper. You read a newspaper, you don't question it. At least a lot of people didn't. So I do think that was an interesting idea. And I don't really have a lot of issues. I mean, I'm not big on the opening song by Sheryl Crow, Tomorrow Never Dies. This is okay, but it's definitely not a favorite of mine. Like I said, when it's the physical, the fisticuffs, it's alright. You get to see Michelle Yeoh do a couple of cool stuff, but definitely nowhere near to the capability of, say, her work at Super Cop. The action set pieces are definitely the big draw. The bit with James Bond and Michelle Yeoh jumping out of Jonathan Pryce's building, sliding down on the banner. To me, the best scene is the helicopter sequence where they're both handcuffed and they're riding this motorcycle, and she has to maneuver around to do certain things, or they jump over this gap and over a helicopter, or have to slide under the helicopter. And while there's a scene before that where they're being chased and the helicopter has this rotor downward, which I know a lot of movies have done that, but this is the first time I had seen that when I saw this back in the day. I'm like, wow, I've never seen that before. It might have been done before, and it's definitely been done after in films like 28 Weeks Later, among others, but again, I had never seen that before when I saw it, so I thought, wow, that's really cool. And it's done. A lot of practical effect work was put into this. This is 1997. I mean, granted, you were getting to the CGI era with its usage somewhat in Jurassic Park, among others. But there's still a lot of real practical effects in this. And it definitely... That's the thing with practical effects. People may wonder why some folks like me really hinder on that or really focus on that. It's because this is 1997 and they still hold up. But if it was CGI, it would look cartoonish or silly. Go watch films of certain ilk at this day and age that had a lot of CGI. And you go, oh, that CGI doesn't hold up. But I love Mortal Kombat from 1995. Does the CGI of Reptile work in that? Fuck no. Makes you wish they would just use a practical effect. A creature effect. I think it would have worked out better. Because the CGI looks garbage. Still a good movie. But, you know, the CGI is garbage. That's the thing. CGI can age. But if practical effects age is like a fine wine. When CGI age, it's rotten. Did get rotten real quick. Now, a lot of these DVDs, when MGM was releasing these, at least they had these booklets, which was nice. Very cool. Like the booklet in this is showcasing the history of James Bond, going all the way back to Dr. No. You even have old pictures of that. December 10, 1997 came out, was a box office success. It was about filming the parking garage car chase, filmed in London's Brent Cross Shopping Centre, one of Europe's largest indoor shopping malls. New gadgets for a new age. BMW 750iL. Oh, that's another thing. Q, the actor who plays Q, he's in here, and he's fun to see again. His banter with James Bond. Oh, grow up, Bond. You know, grow up, James. He's been in this series of films for quite a while. He kept with it for a while, up until he sadly passed away. But he always had nice banter with James Bond. Walther PPK handgun is enough to do the job. He relies on the gadgets. A cigarette lighter that becomes a grenade at the flip of a switch. Explosive detonator concealed in an Omega wristwatch. The big C drill, which our bad guy gets run through. Because if you show the whole thing, it would be rated R, but it's definitely a fun death for the villain. And, interesting with this booklet, it just goes to all the high-techs and gadgets of all the James Bond films, listen all the villains and who play them in the James Bond films, the type of ships. Regarding the series, not just this movie. Interesting. Oh, back in the day when they told you, had to teach you what the fuck widescreen was. It takes you to play by widescreen. This is how it would standard, and this is how it would look in widescreen. But yeah, it does have features. It has a commentary with the director, a second commentary with second unit director Victor Armstrong. Victor Armstrong, he worked on films going back to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he directed Army of One with Dolph Lundgren. Victor Armstrong, he was the second unit director here. Featurette depicting the evolution of the Bond series. Music video by Sheryl Crow. Sadly, not really a true making of this particular film. But I think maybe by the time this came out... try to remember when this DVD came out. The movie came out in 1997. I'm trying to remember when this DVD came out. Was it 99? It'd be nice to have like a retrospective featurette on the film. Like what do these, looking back on the film type of thing. But yeah, other than the fisticuffs, I think could have been done a bit more stronger, a bit more finesse. I don't really have a lot of issues with Tomorrow Never Dies. That's why it's one of my favorites, along with GoldenEye. When I think of James Bond films, I think of this stuff. Vincent Schiavelli, you may remember him as the guy in Ghost with Patrick Swayze. He's the ghost in the subway train who teaches Patrick Swayze a few things. He's here in The Assassin. And the thing with Pierce Brosnan, he's cool, suave, but he also got the serious part of it down, where the guy is an assassin. I'm just a professional doing my job. And he puts the gun towards the guy. Me too. He could handle, like, he could have easily handled the Casino Royale serious stuff too. I mean, but Pierce Brosnan is a solid actor. And yeah, Jonathan Pryce with him making fun of Michelle Yeoh's martial arts, and he's having a ball. Michelle Yeoh, great asset to the flick. Yeah, the movie's entertaining. The movie's a rather entertaining, spectacle-filled movie, and a lot of fun, and a bit underrated, because it gets a bit thrown under the bus. It gets kind of thrown away. I don't think it really deserves it. I don't think it's that bad of a film at all. So, a bit underrated. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you in the next video. Later.